So one person who could stand to gain a lot in a second Trump term is Elon Musk, the tech billionaire, right? SpaceX, Tesla X. He made a big bet on President-elect Trump, spending more than $118 million backing him. And hey, that bet may be paying off considering the victory, the decisive victory for President-elect Trump here. Remember some of these scene-stealing rally appearances, the jumping up and down, the hat, the et cetera, the splashy and very controversial $1 million a day giveaway to voters in battleground states? Of course, before all that, buying Twitter, turning it into X, using it as a political megaphone. Now, you could see Musk play an influential role, maybe not in the cabinet, right? Probably not likely, but maybe as an outside advisor, somebody who is in the former president's ear while he is serving as president-elect, in the White House. David Ingram is joining us now. And David, you're reporting on this, right? How it is possible that besides Donald Trump, the biggest winner could be Elon Musk coming out of this election here, even with some of these unparalleled conflicts of interest, if he does end up doing something like becoming the Secretary of Cost Cutting, as President-elect Trump has described.
Yeah, so we've got really a two-way street here between Musk and Trump. On the one hand, Musk and his company stand to benefit in numerous ways from a second Trump administration. You can break that down into a couple different categories. Just regulatory benefits is maybe the first big one, where things like environmental laws and labor laws, Musk can expect slightly easier treatment under those laws from the experts I've spoken to. On top of that, other ways Musk's companies could benefit is through taxes, lower tax rates for him and his companies, and through additional contracts for things like going to Mars. The other side of that street is there was a tweet today with Musk showing himself carrying a sink into the Oval Office. He will be doing whatever Trump likes him to do, whether it's advising on cost cutting or something more substantial.
What's interesting here is that Elon Musk has all the money in the world. The most valuable resource to him may not be cash, it may be time. And he has spent plenty of his own time with Donald Trump, working for Donald Trump, parking himself to some degree in Pennsylvania and doing what he could in that what ultimately turned out to be decisive battleground state here. Talk us through this relationship as it's developed over the course, really only over the last maybe year in a deep way.
Yeah, it's been a really rocky relationship. As recently as 2 years ago, Musk was saying that Trump should ride off into the sunset. There are reports, that they've been talking more or less constantly over the past year about how much Musk would give, whether he would give, the other ways he would help. And I think what it came down to for Musk is he saw that there was just going to be a tremendous difference in how Trump would view the economy, and particularly companies and his interests going forward for the next 4 years.
David Ingram, glad to see you always. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.